American South. He's always there, fighting for freedom over land and air. G.I. Joe!
Hello everybody, Mac here. Welcome back to the show. So, let's get real for a minute here. There is a lot that we have to take a look at. There is so much stuff that is backing up between Hasbro, Mattel, some Super 7. There's going to be more that I know I've forgotten right now. And we're going to try and get most of it in the following month. Because remember, next month starts, our holiday season with Retro-tember. And then we go into Bricktober, and then Bricksgiving, and then a very Brickentire Christmas. Believe it or not, we are in like the final stretch of 2024. If you can believe that or not. No. We are in the final stretch of 2025. Sorry, had a moment there. If you can believe it or not, how fast this year has gone. So, for what we're taking a look at today, go ahead, drop us a like, because we are looking at the G.I. Joe Classified Series HasLab Rattler crew. We have Baroness, Wild Weasel, and our fighter pilot, turret gunner, whatever they call him. So these are the three figures that came with the HasLab Rattler. And first of all, I love this, that when you turn them all on their side, they make this little image right here. But also, I think if you turn them to the backs, it makes an image of the Rattlers that way as well. And I love that one of them has the snake nose art, and the other one has the warthog nose art going on right there. I still haven't decided which one I'm going to put on mine. Makes me wish I had bought two, but I think I'm going to actually end up going with the warthog nose art on mine. Now, if we flip them around, we can get a better look at what we got with our Rattler right here. And the packaging, first of all, is fantastic. I love the packaging. That each one has a symbol from, well, the flight patches that you got with it, which I know a lot of people weren't really excited, including me, about the flight patches, but we got them. They're there. I also love how the HasLabs all have their own individual box art design right here. And these are the smaller box designs that the thinner boxes that Classified has been using. Of course, we have Baroness, Wild Weasel, and they call him the Cobra Rattler Gunner, but let's be honest, you could use this for, just an unnamed pilot as well as part of the crew. Although, truthfully, he is probably going to end up being Wild Weasel's gunner. So, this is great art, great packaging. You saw the backs, you saw the sides. On the other sides, we have the symbols that designate what they're good at. We have some really nice artwork down on the corners as well. You'll note there's no QR codes for the HasLab characters. Up top, we have the Cobra Airborne logos on each of the box, along with their numbering. And on the bottom, Mars Division, which is cool. I dig that because at this stage in the game, Mars made most, if not all, of Cobra's artillery. And I think for opening purposes, we're going to go in reverse order, because this is 183, 184, 185. But I think we're going to start with our Cobra Rattler Gunner. Okay, here he is, our Rattler Gunner, out of the box, and putting the tape measure to him, we can see that he is 6 3/8 to the top of his head. Starting off, taking a look at our Rattler Gunner right here, we can see that there's nothing that really stands out about him. There's nothing that really draws attention to him, but that's fine because he is a troop builder type figure, even though you would have to get a HasLab to get one of these. I actually hope that they make this again at the mass market, at retail. Like maybe this is the figure that comes with the Fang whenever we get the Fang, because I think he would be a good Fang pilot. I think this is a really good sort of generic troop builder for your pilot infantry type figures. And I really love that you can see the mask on him. The standard old school mask, not like the hard sort of like rebreather masks that we see on a lot of the Cobra Troopers now. I really dig that even though this is like basic, I like that it's basic. I like that it looks real world. It looks grounded. It looks rooted. Like he has his flight vest right here. He has his harness right here. It's a shame he doesn't come with a parachute like the, I just realized I never looked at Ripcord. I still have Dragonfly figures to take a look at from last year. Holy cow. But he has his flight pants down here, his chaps. Like, I thought there was going to be a lot of reuse with this figure from like maybe Ripcord or maybe the Halo jumper that we got. But this is a decent looking troop builder figure. New mold, new everything for the Rattler HasLab. Like I said, though, I do hope that they reuse this and they bring him out. Like I said, he could be really good as the Fang pilot right here. We have Cobra Airborne right here written on his shoulder, which I think is very cool. We have his flight patch over here, which I think that's how they're going to integrate the flight patches that we got with the HasLab, that each one is going to have their own flight patch on their shoulder. No actual Cobra branding on the figure, though, which is kind of interesting to me. I really like that. So we have twin holsters down here, which this I'm not really a big fan of. Because first of all, he's a pilot. He wouldn't have the twin holsters here. Second, because the holsters sit so high up on his legs, kind of interferes with them coming in tight. So he's always going to be standing a little akimbo right there. If they wanted to give him dual pistols, what I would have rather seen them do is what they did with the first Cobra Trooper and Cobra Infantry, that maybe have one holster tucked here at the small of his back here. Well, then that would have kind of interfered with sitting in the cockpit or in the gunner seat. But putting one here in the vest and then maybe one on his belt, like with the Cobra officer, so that everything would have sat high and not been on his legs right there. Because these do kind of get in the way. They also get in the way, not of the articulation so much, but there's pieces right here. Let me show you, that pop off, and you have grooves right there. And I believe the reason is, and we're not going to know for sure until we open up Wild Weasel, but I'm pretty sure in Wild Weasel's box, some of his accessories are like leg accessories for the pilots, for the gunners, so that like you could pop these off and then put like a flight map on his leg or something right there. So I believe that's what these are for. Like I said, we will find out once we pop open Wild Weasel. I put that on backwards. Whoops. So for a couple of different reasons, I would have liked to have seen them move the holsters in different areas right here. Now, this flight vest comes off very easily, so he just has his flight jacket on underneath. And I do like how there's this softness to the collar. I like how it's unzipped a little and you can see the t-shirt underneath. Unfortunately, the flight vest won't, it doesn't decouple in any way. So if you wanted to take the flight vest off, you'd have to heat him up and pop the arms off, which we're not going to do to this guy. But for whatever reason, this is another reason why I think this might make a good figure. Like, you don't have to make this. Like, this could stay exclusive to the Rattler, whereas like this, once again, put him in the Fang. I really want the Fang. So taking a look at that. Oh, and he's also in like this classic Cobra blue, which I love that. I've always liked Cobra's color palette, just like the primary colors of this blue and the red right there. I really dig that, with like just some accenting, some touch up of black. I really dig that. And then of course we have his flight shoes down here. I like how they lace up. And the flight pants come down. I like the wrinkles molded into it. I think he's a really good, really decent troop builder. So let's take a look at his articulation, that his head will do a full 360 spin. Whoops, and you can see that his neck pivots a little too easily. He can look up fairly well. He can look down real good because of that ball joint at the neck. And he has some decent tilt side to side. Arms, full 360. He has a butterfly joint that doesn't have a whole lot of travel, but the butterfly joint is there. Arms come up to 90. He has a bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows that go all the way. Wrists swivel, wrists hinge up and down, because both of them are weapon wielding hands, and these are the only weapon wielding hands that he has. Now, the vest, his flight jacket covers it up, but he does have a crunch here at the waist that you can get him forward you can get him back. And if you lift this up, you can kind of see the lines right there where that ab joint is. And he has turned side to side at the waist. Drop down legs will come out to the side, but those holsters get in the way once again. We'll come up to just under 90. We'll go back that far. We have a thigh cut, double jointed knees with some really good travel, and the ankles will rock back. The ankles will rock forward fairly well, and we have a forward facing pin for some rocker. And I just noticed, listen to that. I don't know if you can hear that, but for whatever reason, there's actually detents in the ankle rock. So something that makes him a really good troop builder is this is the face sculpt he comes up with out of the packaging, but this neck piece and all pops off, and you can put a secondary neck and head joint on there. Get in there. That gives him a completely different look, completely different skin tone right there, so that if you do have more than one of these, you can swap out the heads and you can have different characters on your diorama or like on your flight crew. Because we have 3 figures to look at, and I don't want this video to end up being an hour long, we're going to take a look at his accessories pretty much all in one fell swoop. And I really like the look of him all decked out with his flight helmet on, with his oxygen mask on. Now, the connection point is just down here on the side of the vest. I believe in real life this would just plug into an oxygen supply built into the plane. I think that's how that works. Correct me if I'm wrong. I've never been in a fighter plane, believe it or not, but I also really like the lime green of his visor. I don't know why. I think it's just because it's unexpected and it really stands out from the rest of the figure right here. I dig the blue helmet and the red mask. That it mimics very much like the Cobra infantry with like the blue helmets and just like the red masks that they wear around their face. So that is very cool. I also like the sort of like pilot specific artwork up here on his helmet. Each figure, each member of like the Rattler crew has different helmet art. Kind of reminds me of like Star Wars a little bit. And I know that's not what it harkens to. Like, I get that, but like when all of the X-Wing pilots had different helmet paint jobs, I really like that they did that with these guys. So the way that this all fits on is this just plugs into the side of the vest, and then that plugs into the front of the mask right there. You can see that. And then this has 2 tabs right here on either side of the helmet that it just comes off like so that even when, whoop, the helmet shifted a little, even when he just has the helmet on, like you still have that blue on red look with that bright visor, but then the helmet just pops right off and voila, there's our boy. Now we also have his twin pistols down here in his holsters that they fit very well and they fit into his hands very well. So you see they're sized real well for him, and let's pull this one out and take a closer look at it. I'm not entirely sure if this is something real or if this is sort of like a lot of stuff for Cobra where it's just like Mars created and it's unique for Cobra. One of the things I'm a little upset with is that there's no hole, there's no bored out hole to accept blast effects for the pistol. That's kind of a bummer, but a lot of the pistols that we get with G.I. Joe are too small for them to have drilled a hole out into them. One thing that can take blast effects is the final piece to take a look at, and that is his assault rifle, or his SMG right here. I don't think this is a real world weapon. I definitely think it's based off of real world weapons. I mean, if you can't tell, this is based off of an HK machine gun. I mean, other than like some business here at the barrel, this definitely looks like an H&K. So I think that's what it's based off of. But once again, I think it's like a Mars Cobra specific weapon. It does have a removable magazine. Whoop. It does have a removable magazine right there. We do not get additional magazines with it. And it does have the bore hole for blast effects, as you can see right here. Now, I don't see a pilot carrying one of these, because where would he put it in the cockpit? Even in the real world, the pistols that pilots do have, I believe they're in the ejector seats. Like, it's part of the survival pack built into the ejection seats. That the pilot wouldn't have this in the cockpit. However, I do hope that we get more of these with some Joes, because these would be really cool for Cobra to be carrying around. And up next, we have Wild Weasel. Okay, here he is, Wild Weasel, out of the box, and putting the tape measure to him, we can see that he is 6.5 to the top of his head. Now, taking a look at Wild Weasel here, we're not going to really get into his articulation too much, because to be completely honest, this figure is exactly the same as this figure with a few differences. The first of them obviously being the coloring, red versus blue. The second is that Wild Weasel has a thicker vest because he has his pouches up front right here. And also, the Gunner has 2 holsters, Wild Weasel only has 1 down here. Now, even though the vests are different, the harness is the same, and the harness will still slip off of Wild Weasel the same as well. Also, all of the articulation in Wild Weasel is the same as the Gunner, so we're not going to go over that again. The only thing I want to draw attention to is that because this vest is thicker, he can still crank back very well. But coming forward can be a little bit more of an issue because we have these heavier pouches right up front. So other than that, he and the Cobra Gunner are the same figure. Also, we have a different patch here on the shoulder. You can see we have the regular Cobra Airborne patch right there. Over here, we had the Fly Swatter patch. I really think that's cool, putting the patches on the different pilots. I really like that. And of course, over here we have Cobra Airborne. Now, he only has the 1 pistol, but he does have those bands across his legs that you can see better, black against red. And that is for these pieces right here. You pop this off, and then these go on. And like I said, back in the 80s, when the Rattler was first made, I'm assuming pilots used these charts on their legs instead of like instruments in the cockpit. I'm assuming now these are kind of outdated. Like I said, I've never flown a modern fighter, but I would assume, especially with like 5th gen fighters, 4th and 5th gen fighters, that like that's all on instruments now. I don't know if they would still have these pamphlets on their legs, but I appreciate that they included them because it is just a nod to the old figure, and also it's something interesting. And like I said, we have the Gunner right here that you can pop that off, and we have another one here. Now we only have 2, so we don't have enough of 1 for each of them, but you can see that you can put them on the Gunner's legs as well. We have the chart right here, and then we have his notepad, his manual right here. So you could put both of them on one figure, 1 on each like I'm doing right now, or you could just have them both on Wild Weasel so that he looks more like his original form. Now, one thing that deviates greatly from the original figure is that we can see Wild Weasel's face. We have an unmasked head right here, and the vintage figure didn't have that. He just had the helmeted head, and that was pretty much it, which wasn't unusual for 3 3/4 figures back in the 80s. But also, we've never really seen his head, his face, period, like not even in the comics. He always had his helmet on in the comics as well. This is our first time getting a look at Wild Weasel, and I have to say, I like that they added the scarring right here, because that is a very deliberate nod to the old Marvel Real American Heroes series issue 34, which was Shakedown, where it was Wild Weasel and Baroness and Ace and Lady J involved in a dogfight, and in that dogfight, the canopy on the Rattler got shot open, half of Wild Weasel's helmet was busted off, and he got the scarring right there from the shrapnel when everything was just peeled away. That is a very nice touch. I appreciate that. I really do. The eyes are very well set as well, looking forward. It's a very decent head sculpt. I really like the cut of the hair, the close crop at the back, everything about it except for one thing. I know this guy. He looks exactly like somebody I grew up with. He looks like Kevin. I always knew you were evil, Kevin. Now this right here is Wild Weasel's vintage look, the red helmet with the open respirator socket and the black shiny visor that comes down right there. Basically the helmet, visor, and oxygen mask are exactly the same as what we had with the Cobra Gunner right there. We also have our oxygen pack here that fits on the same way. There is a little slot right here down on the bottom of his torso. Oh, get in there. And then the respirator hose just plugs right into the front of the helmet. So there you go. He's all set. He's ready for flight. Now, like I said, we do have another version of the helmet. So we pop this off. Let's take off the oxygen mask and let's pull the helmet off as well, because we do have this helmet. It's a little warped because it's not complete, but it fits on very well, and we have half of it blown away. We also have a separate oxygen mask that is a little dirtier, a little shot up, looks like it's seen some stuff, and it plugs in exactly the same way. And then once those are set, we can plug the oxygen hose in here, no problem, just like the standard one. And there you go. Half of the helmet has been shot off in the dog fight. The only thing I wish they had done with the Rattler, the only thing I wish they had done is the front canopy of the Rattler is easily removable. I would have loved if they would have included a canopy. It didn't have to even be the lid, but like the front canopy being shot open, like maybe part of it missing, a hole blown through it, some bullet marks, just to really sell this idea that Weasel got tagged by Ace in that flyby. The end, if you never read the issue, like, honestly, check it out. Like, Shakedown was a fantastic issue. The ending was spectacular. And then actually a few years later, I forget what the name of that issue is, but a few years later, as a matter of fact, I think it was last year maybe, it was either 2025 or 2024, IDW did a continuation to Shakedown where it showed Wild Weasel and Baroness having to bring the Rattler in for a landing in Springfield, and the Rattler was all shot up and there was issues, there was problems with landing, and you got to see like the Cobra ground troops like preparing for a crash and how like they all really worked together as a team. It was really cool. It was really great getting to see that. So if you can get those two issues, IDW, I don't remember what the name of it was, but definitely issue 34, Marvel Real American Hero. I'm sorry, issue 39, Marvel Real American Hero, Shakedown. Check that out. Now, in addition to his flight gear, Wild Weasel also comes with the same pistol that the Cobra Gunner came with. Once again, it's not bored out for blast effects, more's the pity. And it is just a little automatic sidearm right here. I think it's a SIG. I think it's based off of a SIG, or maybe it's just something Destro came up with. Maybe it's Mars weaponry. But it fits into his holster on his side right here. Once again, I really wish they hadn't put the holsters on the sides of the legs like that. I would have really liked if maybe it would have been up here in the vest, or like I said, maybe at the small of the back on the waist back here. I just wish they hadn't put it on his hip. But there we go. There's Wild Weasel. He was always one of my favorite Cobras, mainly because I really gravitated towards the pilots. There were two types of Joes that I gravitated towards, the pilots and the ninja. I am neither, so go figure. But I really liked the pilots. I really liked Wild Weasel. I mean, I made Hard Deck a pilot. I made my own character a pilot. What does that tell you? Okay, here she is now, the one I'm sure everybody has been waiting to see, our newest rendition of Baroness. And now here she is, Baroness, out of the box, and putting the tape measure to her, we can see that she is 6 1/8 to the top of her head. Okay, just to be completely upfront right from the start, I'm pretty sure this is going to be my shelf Baroness. I'm pretty sure this is my favorite Baroness of the lot. And so far we've had, I think, like 5 Baronesses. We had the Cobra Coil, Cobra Island Baroness. We had the Retro Card Baroness that was basically the same figure. We had the Crimson Strike Force 3-pack Baroness. And we have G.I. Joe Snake Eyes Origins movie Baroness. I have all of them. I can't remember where... I can't find my Origins Baroness right now. But out of all of them, This is going to be my favorite, and it's going to be a combination of sculpt, articulation, just the whole 9 yards, that for me, this is going to encompass Baroness. And I firmly believe, even if you didn't back the Rattler, you're not going to miss out on this one. I suspect we're going to see another version of this one, and I'll explain why I think that in a minute. But first of all, let's just take a look at this. This is, as far as I can tell, basically a completely new sculpt from start to finish. That the face sculpt, the legs, the torso, the arms, everything is brand new. The face sculpt on her, just look at that portrait. That is a beautiful face sculpt. And while normally I would sort of like raise an eyebrow at the idea of like makeup like this on a military figure, because you couldn't see Scarlet or Lady J or Helix doing something like this. But this is Baroness. Like, it's not just a code name. It is a title. She's a Baroness. There's going to be certain things that are just ingrained in her, and looking her best is going to be one of those. And that was always like part of her character in the comics, in the cartoon, kind of, but like more or less in the comics. The same thing with her boots right here. Normally I'm against like the high heel stilettos or the combat wedges or whatever you want to call them. But with her, it's kind of her thing. It's kind of what she does. These would still be useless in combat, but she's not really a frontline combatant. Like, she'll fly a Rattler, she'll drive a Hiss tank, but she's not really infantry. So like, once again, for Baroness, that doesn't really bother me. But just take a look at this. This is all new sculpt. This looks fantastic. The face portrait is gorgeous. The hair, look at all of this hair right here. Now, admittedly, the hair could have used a bit of a wash so it's not just all black, and there would have been some standing out right there. But, I mean, it looks great. I love this like little flip at the bottom right here, but that is a huge, huge mane of hair. Plus, she has her flight vest on. She has the twin holsters right here. The belt and the vest are not connected. And that was interesting to me because I was going to try and take the vest off, and I thought I was going to have to pop the arms off. However, Hasbro was one step ahead of us, that her vest is actually pegged. So first of all, we have to move her hands, her arms up, then we have to pop her head off, and then you can just straight up take the vest off with no problems. And G.I. Joe doesn't do that too often. And we're going to leave it off for a while so we can take a look at her articulation. But also, this is what I mean. Like, this is all new sculpt. This looks great. Let's get her turned the right way. There we go. This looks fantastic. And to be completely honest, this is why I think we're going to see this one again, because once you take that flight jacket off and you have her blue bodysuit right here, but then you also have this texturing around the waist, and you have texturing up here at the butterfly joints. You see that right there? It almost looks like carbon fiber right there. If you took this figure, maybe lightened the blue a little bit and painted that yellow and the arm caps right there yellow, where like there's that texturing right there, that is a first appearance Baroness. And I think we're going to get her again. I really feel like we're going to get her again, that they'll lighten up the bodysuit, they'll paint those parts yellow, and they'll get rid of the Cobra flight badges, and it'll be released as either like a first appearance Baroness, or they're really going in with the Sunbow cartoon right now, that we'll get this and it'll be released as like the Mass Device Baroness, or like the Sunbow cartoon Baroness, or she'll come in like a 2-pack with some other Sunbow character, who knows. But I don't think they would go to all the work of doing this, sculpting this. I mean, we saw it with Glenda, that we got Glenda, and then that was basically retro Scarlet. I think they're going to do something similar with this, because even right here at the collar, that would be yellow. So I really feel like we're going to see this one again, especially for all of the attention they gave her during like promotion of the Rattler and like the unboxing of the Rattler and everything. So without further ado, let's take a look at the articulation, but also let's look at the sculpt for a little bit, because like I love how you can like, they sculpted in the abs. You can see, like I said, that texturing right there around the waist. You have it right here at the shoulders as well. She has the Cobra Flight logo right there. She has the, I forget which one that is. I think that's like Tank Smashers right there. And then the belt connects the holsters right here, which I thought this was all going to be one piece, which was why I was curious if you could get that off or not. And then, like I said, the leather boots down here look fantastic. So we have to pop the hair piece off so that we can take a look at the full range of articulation. And the head does do a full 360. Without hair, she can look up fairly well. Without hair, she can look down fairly well. But when you pop this huge wig on, you can see sculpted, conformed to her back. There's not going to be a whole lot of movement. There are other head pieces or other hair pieces that will give her better articulation. We'll take a look at those in a moment. Arms do a full 360. She has that butterfly joint in both shoulders that doesn't really give you much travel, but it is there. Arms, 2 of them, will come up way past 90. Biceps swivel. Double jointed elbows that will close in all of the way. Wrists swivel. And here's the one confusing part. The wrists hinge in and out. They don't go up and down. And that is a bit of a disappointment. That's a very much a disappointment. I don't know if it's because of how small they are. They weren't able to hinge up and down, but they just come in and out. And that is on both of them. Now getting her arms up out of the way, you can see right there we have the torso cut that will give her her full range of motion. She can really crank back. She can crank forward. She gets some side to side going on. We also have a ball joint at the waist that will give us some twist and will also give us back, give us forward. Not much side to side out of that, but the 2 of them working in conjunction, she can really get some movement going right there. Drop down hips, legs will come up to there, go back to there. These do pull a little bit, but you can push them up on the leg to get some slack. So there we go, without putting stress on the straps right there. They will come out to the sides only to there, and that's not interference from the holsters. That's just how far out they'll go. You see there is a thigh cut. All of the articulation is very smooth on this one. Let's bring our holsters back down. Double jointed knees with some really good travel right there. Also a boot cut right at the boot. And the ankles rock back way well. The ankles rock forward way well. Look at that. And we do have a forward facing pin for some rocker. Now there are detents in the feet, in the ankles right here. There's a detent there. And there's a detent there, but you can see there's none where it needs to be. So you kind of have to position it like right between the detents to get her in her standing position. And even with those big stiletto heels right there, she stands, whoop, she's leaning a bit. She stands very well for having a pair of stiletto heels on. And you get that same stance even when her vest is on. And we'll check her out with all of her gear pretty soon. So she doesn't have extra hands or an extra head sculpt, but you did see that I was able to pop her wig off. And this is the one she comes with out of the box, this very long one right here. You can pop that off. We also have this one, which is also long, but not nearly as long. And it gives her the look of long hair. I love this one strand just hanging down right there. It gives her the look of long hair, but also gives her better range of articulation whenever she has this, instead of like this full down to her butt type mane right here. And this one is cut very close, pulled back very close to the head. We'll take a look at her glasses. With this one, with this hairpiece, I haven't been able to get her glasses on her just because of how tight everything is. And then there is a third hairpiece, which is her librarian bun right here. And this is the one that you would use if you were having her like working around the Rattler, holding her helmet underneath her arm, because this is how her hair would have to be, I guess, to get the helmet on. But also we have this item right here, which is the headphones And while you can get them on with pretty much any hairpiece, it really does work best with this one. One, it looks better. Two, it conforms to her ears better. Now, in the promo shots, whoops, that's crooked. In the promo shots, they weren't all black. That, like, the earmuffs were painted red. Unfortunately, that's not how this one goes. Do I have that on backwards? Because they don't seem to be fitting right. There we go. I think I put them on backwards. So in the promo shots, the muffs were painted red. They're all black, unfortunately, because I really do think like that little hint of red really accented them, made them pop, and made them like match up with her vest right there. So we can take that off. Now, we also have her flight helmet. Her flight helmet doesn't fit over any hairpiece. You have to pop the hairpiece off. So you have her bald head. Then you put her helmet on, which I love her helmet. Her helmet is my favorite of the bunch. Oh, come on. You get the helmet on like so. And then she has her oxygen mask that clips on as well, just like Wild Weasel and the Gunner. Her stuff is just a little bit smaller to accommodate her. There we go. That looks awesome. Man, does that look awesome. I love the coloring on hers as well. And then she has her oxygen tube. Where did it go? That hers clips onto the front of her vest right here. And there you go. She's ready for flight. That looks really great. She does have the best looking helmet out of all of them, to be completely honest. She has the best looking gear out of all of them, to be completely honest. Like, her stuff even tops Wild Weasel's. Now, let's pull this off. Get the helmet off. Let's put this big wig back on. Now, she has this clip on the front of her vest right there, which is where her oxygen tank plugs into. She also comes with... But she also comes with this piece that you can plug in and just hook onto the front of her vest so that when she's not in flight, it covers that peg up right there. Now also, what would Baroness be without her glasses? Of course, this version of Baroness comes with glasses, and they are the tinted glasses. These ones are yellow. This is another reason why I feel like we're going to get another version of her, because you take these and you paint them green, and that's, I think, if I remember right, that's like the first Sunbow coloring for her glasses. Now, there is some trenching that you can see on the inside of the wig for the glasses stems, but I haven't been able to push them on while the wig is on. So what I do is I pop the hairpiece off, I put the glasses on first, I use my thumb to hold it in place. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. It's not easy for me to do these through the camera. Small items, big fingers, you know how it goes. So you hook them over the ears, and then I use my thumb to hold the glasses in place, and then I bring this big wig down over top of it, and then that just holds everything in place, and there we go. Anastasia has her glasses on. Now, like I said, I haven't been able to get the glasses on with this hairpiece. It's just too tight to the head, but we can, at least I've been able to get it on with the bun-do. Okay, there we go. I had to pull it back behind the camera again, but there we got the glasses on with the bun-up hairdo, and I like that you can do this one. I wish that you were able to do it with this one, but you got these two, so that works. Now, something else you might be wondering about. She has these glasses, but can she wear other glasses? And the answer to that is yes. These are the round glasses that she has in the Crimson Strike Force 3-pack. These are actually my favorite glasses for her, just because they're the ones that were used in the comic the most, and I just felt like that suits her best. Like when I picture Baroness, those are the kind of glasses that she has. So I do like that you can take glasses from the other figures and fit them on her. Baroness comes with her own set of weapons, too, that first of all, her pistols are very different from Wild Weasel's and the Gunners. First of all, you can see that they're painted differently. They have a little bit more flair up on the action right there. Also, they have extended magazines. Now, I think these are old school 1911s with an extended mag on them. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not good at telling on these smaller sculpts like this. I've made that very clear. Also, her pistols are bored out for blast effects right there, as you can see. And she has her twin holsters. You can see she has a real good grip on it in her left hand and on her holster on the side right here. It just fits in. Now, I believe that the mold for the holsters is the same as Wild Weasel and the Gunner. It's just they added in this extra strap to attach to her belt right there. Why they did that, I'm not really sure, and didn't just have them tacked onto her thighs. I don't know why they did the extra strap. Well, the extra strap right there. And then finally, and this is something I've been waiting for since the first Baroness, this is her rifle. This is a copy of the rifle that came with her vintage figure in the vintage line, in the 3 3/4 line in the 80s. I believe this was supposed to be a laser rifle. I used it as a sniper rifle, and right now it looks like they did the same thing. This has a removable magazine. It looks like this is like wood stock right here at the forward grip. You can see there's a flash suppressor built onto the muzzle. Plus, I like how we have like the green glass on the scope. Sort of like maybe starlight scope right there. Passive night vision maybe. I don't know. I do feel like the stock needs to be a little bit longer because while she does look good holding it, and she can get into some really good sniper poses with this, that whenever you bring it up, the stock really doesn't like rest back into her shoulder too well, but she can get a decent grip on it. I just realized I still have the round glasses on, but she can still get a decent grip on it. So I really dig that they gave her this rifle. That's another reason why I think that we're going to see this Baroness again, because not only did they go to the trouble of making this completely new sculpt for her, they gave her her vintage rifle. I 100% believe we're going to see an individual release of this version of Baroness sometime in the future. So after I was done shooting the video, I was actually going through the sticker sheets of the Rattler, and that's when I found this. Like, they've even given us a hint to it already, that if you take a look at this right here, this is exactly what I'm talking about. That Baroness, a different shade of blue, gold around the waist, gold around the arms. I mean, we're getting another Baroness in this body style. I have no doubt about it. Now, since these are HasLab figures, I'm not going to go through and do the whole size comparison thing, but I do want to show you this Baroness beside two more. Like I said, I don't really know where my Snake Eyes Origins Baroness is right now, but these are the two that probably matter the most. This is the Coil Baroness, Cobra Island exclusive, also the retro card version, and this is our Crimson Strike Force Baroness. And to be completely honest, the one that came with the Rattler, our pilot Baroness right here, she's the best one of the bunch. She's the best proportion, she has the best articulation, she has the best face sculpt, she has the best skin tone. Now, if you disagree with the face sculpt thing, and you like this version and everything that comes with this version, because there are different hairstyles, there's different face sculpts, there's the one with the complete mask on it, that if we pop this off, and then we pop this off, the Crimson Strike Force face sculpt actually fits this one. I don't think it looks as good proportion-wise, but it does fit on there if you would want to do that. And because I'm sure some of you want to know, here she is beside her man. We have the Hasbro G.I.Joe Classified Series Destro, and we have the Mezco 112th Destro, which also happens to be my shelf Destro. And here's all three of the crewmen lined up. If you didn't get the Rattler, I do hope you enjoyed this look at the figures that came with it. I don't think we're going to be getting another Wild Weasel. The Cobra Gunner over there, I suspect we'll see another version of the Gunner in one way or another. Like I keep going back to, the Fang is coming out. I could see them releasing the Gunner as a Fang pilot without the helmet, and maybe even giving him like the notepads to stick to his legs. We'll have to wait and see. Baroness, I would put money down that we're going to see another Baroness with this body. That where it's going to be a lighter blue, still have the black boots, The textured parts are going to be painted yellow, and it's going to be either billed as like first appearance Baroness, or it's going to be the Sunbow Baroness. I really believe we're going to be getting another one. Wild Weasel, though, I think this is it. I'm pretty sure this is Wild Weasel. This is the version of Wild Weasel we're going to get, and there's not going to be another one. Wild Weasel's just the man. I mean, Baroness and Wild Weasel were Cobra's top 2 pilots, and Wild Weasel was number 1, Baroness was number 2. So, like, you got their 2 elite pilots right here. And it's just really cool to have them. Like I said, Shakedown. If you can get your hands on that issue from the Marvel Comics days, or even if you have the G.I. Joe, the Volume 1 that Skybound put out, grab that, read that issue. It was a fantastic issue. Him and Baroness against Ace and Lady J. Definitely worth a read. I do hope you enjoyed this, and let's just wait and see, because I suspect we haven't seen the last of at least 2 of these figures. Thank you for hanging around until the end. While you're here, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. The subscriber count has been climbing quickly lately, and it would be really cool if we could hit 2,000 by the end of the year. If you'd like to support the show, please consider joining the Steel Corps by becoming a channel member or a subscriber through my Ko-fi page. Links in the description below. Members get perks like access to a members-only Discord, access to members-only monthly videos, and eventually members-only live streams. All of this for $1 a month. As always, play well, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, thank you for watching.